I'm not very good at making friends. In fact, my go-to approach of awkwardly standing there as I try to form a coherent sentence doesn't seem to work. And much like every other well-adjusted person, I sought the premier way of learning how to be social: video games. And as it turns out, the secret to making friends is found in two parts. The first, the giving of large amounts of money and trinkets. And the second, the slaughter of everyone that supports, fights for and loves your target. And when they are at their lowest, powerless and entirely at your mercy, you simply let them go, swiftly turning enemies into the closest of friends. Mount&Blade Bannerlord is a medieval RPG with many layers to its gameplay. You will wish that the map and the politics were as expansive as Crusader Kings, the battles as tactical as Total War, and the combat as intricate and rewarding as Kingdom Come. And yet, when you bring all of these aspects together, it creates something truly unique. It's taken me ages to finally pick up Bannerlord, and let me tell you, I love-hate this game. There are two sides to Bannerlord. You have the campaign map where you move about the world, enter cities, buy and sell goods, recruit soldiers and engage enemies. And then you have the battle side of things, where you yourself fight and command the horde of peasants you've recruited, watching them get slaughtered in their first ever taste of combat. Battles can have up to 1,000 soldiers, battling it out over a variety of terrains, locations and circumstances. And you decide how they are formed, what maneuvers they take and when they should wildly charge at the enemy. Now, unlike poor, pathetic humans, the AI in this game has no such ideas such as self-preservation and staying alive, and so they will wildly fling themselves at each other until one of them is dead, allowing you to achieve a casualty rate medieval lords could only dream of. But not to be outdone by a bunch of unwashed peasants, the game allows you to attack in 4 different directions: left and right swing for a horizontal slash, an overhead attack for prime targeting of the head, and a low attack for a piercing stab. Likewise, your blocking is broken down into 4 directions. If an enemy attacks from the right, you must block from that direction. The campaign map shows the entire continent, with the cities, castles and villages representing the nation. It's here where you decide where you want to go and what you want to do, whether that be a more peaceful existence, trading and solving petty squabbles, or leading a great army and burning half the continent to the ground. The world is your oyster. And quite honestly, the best way to experience what Bannerlord has to offer is by pure trial and error. And that starts by designing our character. The first decision you must make is to select a culture that you belong to. There are the Vlandians, a popular choice. They are the closest to the classic medieval European archetype. Based on the Normans, they feature a strong focus on cavalry with competent infantry to hold the line while crossbowmen weaken the enemy. You have the Sturgians. These people are based off of the Kievan Rus with a touch more Scandinavia. They offer a more infantry-focused roster with a large amalgamation of heavy infantry wielding axes, throwing axes and great round shields. Britannia are the natives of the continent, made up of inspiration of all sorts of people such as the Thracians, Dacians, Celts and many others. These warriors prefer to fight using a bow, creating a human machine gun as they unleash an unending volley at the enemy. The Kurzates are your classic horse horde, drawing inspiration from the many hordes from history, including the Mongols and the many Turkic tribes. Their army prioritises mounted troops and horse archers, promises to be some of the most fun to play as well as the most agonising to play against. The Azurai are your classic Arabic nation with your expected Mamluks, as they seemingly toss an endless amount of javelins at the enemy while wearing the most fancy army available. And then lastly you have the Empire, basing itself on the Byzantine style Roman Empire. They are the most well-rounded faction, not exactly lacking in any area, featuring heavy legionaries and tank-like cataphracts. They are an incredibly capable fighting force. However, they have the slight issue of there actually being 3 empires, with each of them hating each other. With that decided, you can go on to design the ultimate embodiment of yourself, choosing to specialise yourself into a variety of skills and focuses, whether that is mainly in the art of sword fighting or just how best to persuade others. With your mighty warlord created, you will now find yourself in the middle of Calradia, a lawless land seemingly overran with bandits due to the many kingdoms being utterly incapable of policing their lands. Horrible for local peasantry, but a perfect opportunity for us. Rounding up the most desperate peasants we can find from the local villages, we slowly build up a small force that will allow us to engage these bandits, despite the most advanced weapon we own being a pitchfork. We go around hunting bandit parties weaker than us. I get caught by a bandit party far larger than my own. I convince them to let me go, only for them to then forget about the bribe a day later and attack me anyways. Quests are your primary way of improving relations with the notables of villages and cities, and this is quite important as you recruit your troops from the various notables in these locations, and how much they like you determines just how many you can recruit. And so, if we want to grow our army beyond a small band of unwatched peasants, we have to perform a variety of chores for these people. These quests can be combat related, but most are just plain annoying. No, I don't want to travel half the world to deliver your herd. I have better things to do, such as search a village for someone's lost daughter for about 30 minutes before googling their exact location because there's only so much I can take. But with this new money, new gear and equipment can be purchased. But the next most valuable resource gained here is experience, both experience for yourselves and for your party. Skills in this game are quite self-explanatory. What's important to note is what exactly it relates to. All skills have 2 aspects to them. Some are personal, improving your personal combat abilities. Some apply to the party leader, giving overall buffs to your army. Others relate to specific roles in your army, such as the engineer who handles all siege related aspects, the quartermaster which relates to army side, food consumption and wages, the scout who's all about tracking and navigating the world, and of course a doctor which you will make use of a lot. Finally, there are also captain skills. In battle, you can take command of specific sections of your troops, giving those under your command specific buffs related to your chosen skills. Your companions, who you will recruit from the various taverns, can also take command. Every captain has their own set of skills, and thus their own set of captain skills. But it is not only you and your closest friends that gain experience, your troops do as well. Every culture has a unique troop tree split between common and elite troops. Recruited troops will gain experience in battle, allowing them to be upgraded into new versions, allowing your mud-covered peasants to develop into elite metal-covered murder machines. Every quest you complete, every enemy killed and tournament won will reward you with renown. Renown is the difference between you being perceived as a commoner or a conqueror. The first step in reaching the latter is getting employed as a mercenary, exchanging blood for gold in the most timeless of professions. Raiding, fighting and aiding your nation as much as you can will reward you with influence. This influence is then exchanged for cold hard cash, which quite frankly is the only thing we're interested in. With this justly earned income, we can begin to diversify our portfolio. Purchasing workshops allows for a passive source of income, processing local resources into the relevant goods. But in my experience, I can barely get them to break even. Caravans offer a more lucrative but dangerous alternative, as these caravans travel from town to town trading their goods. However, you run the risk of them getting attacked and losing everything because, trust me, it doesn't matter how much you invest into the caravan, they will get wiped out. Fed up with the caravans getting attacked the second they leave the town? You can choose to do the trading yourself, buying and selling goods in an attempt to make a profit. Not interested in trading? Take on blacksmithing, offering a great source of income as well as access to the best weapons in the game. Money is the most important resource, not only because it is required to maintain your army, but it is the premier way of convincing others. Want to avoid a battle? Just pay. Want to marry someone's daughter? You pay. Want to get an entire town? You guessed it. But to really open the door for us, we need status, and upon getting enough renown to reach a higher tier clan, by performing all the valiant deeds required to get us noticed, we can then become a vassal. Bending the knee to any of the kings grants us certain privileges. While we'll no longer profit from simply attacking enemies, we are now allowed to take a fief for our own. Sieges are a common sight. Siege weapons are constructed, battering rams and siege towers assembled, and then watch as the entire army runs away after they are immediately demolished. Or better yet, watch them stand perfectly in place for the defending catapult to wipe out hundreds of soldiers in minutes. But don't think about simply auto-resolving it, as the second you aren't involved in the battle, commanders seemingly decide to send endless waves to pile up against the walls, resulting in unimaginable casualties and an inevitable loss. But you aren't limited to attacking, defending is just as important, and you can make use of all the issues with attacking to your advantage. Getting attacked by an enemy 1,000 strong, having a pitiful garrison to defend with, just construct a single catapult, sit yourself down in control of it, and watch as your chances of going to heaven decrease with every loose. And even if they should reach the walls, you can throw rocks down on top of their heads, crushing their skulls and breaking their spirits. Assuming you are victorious in taking a settlement, the kingdom will then vote on who should own it, allowing you to expend influence to improve your chances or buy favours with other lords. Having fiefs awarded by votes leads to an annoying situation where you will sacrifice hundreds of your men, putting sweat and blood into taking a settlement, only for Lord Fucknose to decide they are far more deserving. This pattern of taking settlements, attacking enemies and making friends continues as you steadily climb the social ladder, but now comes the important part of cementing our rule. And the easiest way of doing this is creating underlings of our own. You can give your companions command over other parties. They will recruit troops and fight the enemy, inevitably getting attacked and captured on the other side of the kingdom. However, doing this allows you to form armies with them without expending influence, as normally, if you desire to form an army, you will have to call other lords to join it, using your influence as a currency. Using companions mean you can effectively have access to a much higher troop cap. Now, companions aren't the only way of increasing your power. Marriage is the path to cementing your dynasty. Upon finding the target of your desires, you woo them with tales of your exploits, and when they inevitably fall in love with you, you pay the parent the appropriate monetary compensation, and just like that, you are married. Now, for what reason do you want to get married? Well, not only does it allow you to field new armies, you also get to watch as you produce endless offspring. And of course, if none of that appeals, you can just take all their armour and stuff them in a castle, effectively paying 1/10 the price for late game gear. Children allow you to fill a void that has been in your life for so long. Easy access to governors. Train your children in the art of management and use them to ensure the continued profit of your many fiefs. And money is important, as the next step will require a large amount if we are to achieve our desired ends. With the renown of our clan high enough to be recognised across the world, we return to our holding and begin our plot. We begin fortifying our castles and cities and filling their garrisons, creating as many armies our clan and coffers can support, and begin seeking out lords and ladies of the realm who are particularly impoverished and ideally homeless, offering them gifts of gold in return for their friendship. And then we wait. We wait for the day the kingdom we are oh so loyal to find itself fighting a war on multiple fronts. And when that day finally arrives and our brave army is more needed than ever, we declare ourselves king and form a kingdom of our own, using our accumulated funds to convince our homeless friends to join our new kingdom. However, the focus at this point should be to get peace as soon as possible, as while you will certainly be strong, you simply don't have the numbers to fight. Now, you might be able to get a castle or two, but you should really be looking to offer your former kingdom a payment of tribute in return for peace. Chances are the kingdom you just left are significantly stronger than the neighbours, so in this short period of peace we must grow our strength. and the easiest way of doing that is going after our weaker neighbours, taking what land we can get and drawing as many nobles to our course as possible, ensuring to maintain support from them by giving them fiefs and introducing policies that they support. And with your kingdom now stronger than ever, you can attempt to invade your previous empire, showing proof of your divine right to rule. Assuming of course everyone doesn't declare war on you the second you become independent and wipe out everything you worked so hard to achieve. Now I'm gonna be honest, I've never fully conquered the map. In fact, most of the time I don't even start a kingdom. I have a bad habit of restarting constantly, wanting to try out new builds and tactics. This however has had the sad effect of making certain aspects repetitive. Luckily, this game has the best way of keeping things fresh through the wonders of modding. The Mount&Blade series has always been known for its modding, with some of the mods even eventually getting turned into official DLCs. Bannerlord has a wide variety of mods available, some of which are small but specific mods offering new troop trees, tactics, mechanics and fixes. But there are also mods that completely change the game. You have mods that change everything to mirror ancient Rome, from the classic Roman look to Carthage and the Gauls. There's a huge total conversion mod which turns the game into a Warhammer game, giving full access to magic, guns and artillery. It's pretty amazing what people are doing with this game, but things are not all sunshine and roses. There's a tenuous relationship between modders and the devs. The devs have been, for a lack of a better word, absent, or at least they were. I'll talk about that later. And while the game continues to get updates, these updates are far from satisfactory. Hey, at least the game's not abandoned, right? Well, the issue is these updates have the unfortunate effect of breaking every mod. And when you consider that the updates don't tend to add much content, you can't blame modders for just leaving, which is a huge shame. Now, originally, when I wrote the script, I was going to go into a section which was quite critical of Tales World, as it was incredibly disappointing to see a game and franchise I loved being effectively abandoned. However, recently they announced a new DLC, offering naval warfare with a variety of ships for every faction, new weapons and troops, improved mechanics and a brand new faction with the Nords. And you know what? I'm hopeful. I'm hope racing right now. I'm quite excited for this DLC, and hope this means even more content is coming in the future. And fingers crossed, it might encourage modders to continue their work and make use of the new mechanics, assuming the DLC doesn't break everything beyond repair. Regardless of what happens, I love this game for better or worse, and I strongly recommend people to give it a go. And if you like it, definitely give the previous games a go as well. It's just good fun. Now, I fully intend to make another video when the DLC releases, and so please subscribe if you'd like to see that, and maybe drop a like on the video as well. Either way, thank you for watching. I hope to get back into the YouTube thing and start pumping out videos, so please stick around if you want to see that. Things can only get better.